honestly, seeing this right here gets me so excited for this season. Um, you can see that he's got the Lions making the playoffs, the Bears making the playoffs, and the Packers and the Vikings missing the playoffs. I think it's a realistic take for the Chicago Bears. Um, at first, I kind of got duped because when I first saw this, I saw like a thumbnail that had the Bears first, um, which kind of confused me because then like leading into the clip, I saw that he didn't. So I was like, is it going to be like a fake out? Is he going to be like just kidding? And like, no, it's not. So that genuinely threw me off here. But I think this division just continues to be a gauntlet and continues to be just such a mess. I mean, in like in a good way, in a good way. There's really only a few things that I'm really confident about. I'm confident that the Lions will take a step back. Again, I want to be so clear. It's not to say that on a scale of 0 to 100 that they were 100 and a step back now is they drop down to a 70. It could be very much 100 to a 95, but I'm confident that you can't lose that coaching power and just pay no consequences for it. I just don't believe that personally. I do believe now you bring in the coaching like a Ben Johnson, and I am incredibly confident that the Chicago Bears take a legitimate step forward. Now, if on a scale of 0 to 100, if last year they were, this is a tough one, 60 or something, I am confident at a minimum, it's at least like 10, that they're now up to like 75, 80, whatever it may be. I do believe that the Packers will take a step forward as long as they can actually stay healthy. And Jordan Love is already, to be fair, he is already banged up. But I believe that he takes a step forward, and I am confident that the Vikings will take a step backwards. I believe in JJ McCarthy. I believe in Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores and that roster, etc., etc. But I do not believe that you can replace a veteran quarterback who was playing as great as Sam Darnold was and bring in now a very young first year starter and again have no hiccups whatsoever. So, but to be fair, even with the Lions taking a step back and the Vikings taking a step back, I still believe that they are legitimately competitive and will be contending for the playoffs, of course. So it's like right now, it's like I really can't pick who I believe will win this division. I really don't. And it's actually so great because I've seen now people who are actually giving grounded takes, like actual grounded takes that are not just looking to shock people. I've seen all four teams listed to win the division. I love that. And again, it's actually based on like actual real analysis or real opinion and not just let's juice this all up and say the Vikings are winning the Super Bowl and JJ McCarthy's the MVP. Like it's actual reaching real conclusions here, which I respect. Whether it's right or wrong, I respect it. So I think it's a great spot here. But I'm curious to see with the Bears and the Packers because they're the ones right now who you should, in theory, on a spectrum, have the most confidence in the coaching quarterback combo with Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, albeit you have a question mark about Caleb, which is understandable, and you have Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur. Goff, you're now with a new offensive coordinator, and you're just like, what is that going to like? You have even more question. You have true question marks about that because you're just like, what is that going to look like? And then same thing with Kevin O'Connell and JJ McCarthy. You're just like, what is JJ going to be able to do year one in the NFL, right? Those are real questions, and understandably so. So again, on a spectrum, you're going to have more of that confidence, although there are legitimate question marks about like how quickly can Caleb get this offense going with Ben Johnson, how much patience and growth can Ben Johnson have with Caleb Williams, and just and how quickly can they start to really begin to execute Ben Johnson's offensive vision, right? Is it week 1? Is it week 5? I have no idea, honestly. I really don't. But this is where it's so fascinating to me because let's say Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams work, right? And in the loosest sense of the word, and, it works, and we're to the point where we know that they're going to be the coach quarterback duo for the next 4, 5, 6, however many years. We just know, like, okay, that works. And you have the Matt LaFleur Jordan Love duo. Then it really becomes a battle of who's the better duo, who makes the big plays when it matters most, who elevates their team in the most important moments, who puts up a coaching masterclass on the road, down by 6, 5 minutes to go. You got to win the game. Crucial game, right? Like these are some of those moments that you're really going to look to, and it's going to be pretty cool because you should have two great coach quarterback duos that you're like, all right, now to be fair, the Bears have a little bit of leeway here because it is year 1 with them, and the Packers are in year 3, I guess, right, in terms of actually Jordan Love starting. And Matt LaFleur has obviously also been a head coach in the NFL for significantly longer than Ben Johnson. And Jordan Love has been playing in the NFL longer than, obviously, has just been on an NFL team longer than Caleb. So you would give the benefit of the doubt a little bit to the Bears. But I am very curious to see if a Ben Johnson can leapfrog all the coaches in this division right now and be like, I'm the best coach in the division. I'm the best coach in this division. I'm fascinated to see. Again, I have no predictions whether that will be true or not. And I'm leaving Dan Campbell out of this because he's a specific type of coach. He's not calling the offense. He's not calling the plays, coming up with those game plans in the way that Ben Johnson, Matt LaFleur, and Kevin O'Connell are doing. That much is very, very true. But the Lions obviously have an awesome roster. The Vikings have an awesome roster. And all 4 teams have great coaches. Whether they're walk-around coaches, offensive coordinators, defensive. No one has defensive coordinators right now, though. But in terms of defensive head coaches, but like this, all of these teams are legit. You can make the argument for every single one of these teams, which is why I especially then reduce it to a coach-quarterback duo. I mean, I often reduce things to a coach-quarterback duo because that, to me, is the most important thing to look at when trying to evaluate a team. But it is interesting. It's this division, I think, is going to be so fascinating because we are going to get a lot of questions answered with removing a Ben Johnson from the Lions, as well as losing a defensive coordinator, and seeing what that does to a great roster. Having a quarterback like a Sam Darnold, who is an experienced veteran, who I am a firm believer that matters. Being just a legitimate veteran working with a great coach and what that Vikings offense looks like. Bringing in a new great coach for the Chicago Bears, for Caleb Williams, and seeing how much this offense changes and how much Caleb Williams changes and what this looks like. As well as the continuity factor of Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love. Like we get to see completely different little football experiments for all 4 of these teams, and they're all playing each other. That's why I look at something like this and I'm like, I get really excited because each individual team, I'm looking for my own, my own perspective to learn, grow, and evolve, and more data for my own, just for me to solidify or change some of the conclusions that I've drawn over the years about what it takes to be great or not great, and what leads to a team taking a step forward or taking a step backwards, right? Like if the Lions show no signs of taking a step backward, I'm like, that's interesting. If Ben Johnson doesn't, even if Caleb Williams doesn't prove to be the greatest quarterback under the sun, but if he doesn't really even remotely look different than he did last year, I'll be like, okay, that's interesting. If JJ McCarthy just hits the ground running and is just balling, I'm like, okay, that's it, right? Like it'll be counter to what some of the things that I believe will happen. And so either way, I'm just fascinated. So to me, when I see this is the first division that I've done where I saw all 4 of these teams, and I'm just like, this is what football is to me. This is what football is to me. I just did a video for the AFC North, and it's like, why even bother? Right? I mean, looking at the with the Buffalo Bill, the AFC East and stuff, and you're just like looking at the Bills and the Patriots and Dolphins. I'm just like, what does there even say here? And even in the NFC East, which has also been kind of like each team kind of has their own little year to win. You're just like, at the end of the day, it's the Eagles and the Commanders. What else? What can you learn here about watching that division? Not a whole lot. There's so much knowledge to be gained watching this NFC North, and they're going to be playing each other, which makes it, even if each of these teams never even played each other, there would be so much to learn. But now you're going to be able to get to see them play each other and to get to play each other obviously twice. I see this and it gets me more fired up for football than anything else right now, honestly. Because there's just, again, not only do I think these games are going to be wildly exciting, but I just think that there's so much to learn here. And like, I'm a nerd, man, so like I'm all about that for sure. And I appreciate that Nick is at least taking a grounded, which is unique here, a grounded approach to Caleb and the Bears, and isn't just double, triple, quadruple downing and just being, Bears are winning the division. They're going to be the number 1 seed in the NFL, and Caleb Williams is going to be the MVP, because he did say, not in this segment, but in previous ones, I think like last week or the week before, that Caleb Williams will solidify himself as being the best quarterback in this division. And if that's the case, then Ben Johnson, from my viewpoint, would have solidified himself as the best coach in this division. And if that's the case, then you are talking about having one of, if not the best coach quarterback duo in the division, especially when factoring in age and health in terms of like Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay and having to deal with all of that. Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, again, it's a different relationship, more dependent on the coordinator, etc., etc. So you'd have just a massive head start, even though it felt like you're a year behind because of what happened with Caleb. And insert whatever coach you want to use as a reference point for last year. Eberflus, Waldron, whatever. So, yeah. A lot of interesting stories coming out of this NFC North, that's for sure. It continues to be the gauntlet, and honestly, a narrative paradise. And narratives that I think actually matter and are interesting, not forced narratives. They're going to try to force narratives, make no mistake about it. That much is very true. But there's real narratives and real stories and real information to gain here, which is why I kind of keep harping on that and talking about it, because to me, it's the most interesting thing, especially if we're going to talk about who's going to win the division right now in August, rather than trying to really figure out who's going to win this division. I'm not a huge fan of predictions, and that's just where my mind goes right now. So I'm excited. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Chicago Bears coming in second, but reaching the playoffs, still under the Detroit Lions, but the Packers and the Vikings coming up short? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.